Hey guys, this is Mauisnake back for the first time in a while with a pro player analysis. So I'm trying to get out every single best player from every major squad in the upcoming ELEAGUE Major. And I'm going to be starting with a squad that might not, I think they already decided that they are not going to be playing in the upcoming Major, TyLoo. So I know these guys are probably not playing in the upcoming Major, but nonetheless, I wanted to go over BnTeT. He's gotten a lot of notice lately. This dude has been insane. He was destroying, I'd say, tier 2, tier 3 Asian squads for a while. TyLoo finally picked him up, and he's actually able to maintain incredible performances against actually good teams on the international level. And yeah, just looking at some of his HLTV stats for the past year, he's plus 1,300 in kills to deaths. Insane. He's got an okay headshot percentage, 38.5. He's got a 1.42 KD. That's kind of inflated because he's been playing against bad teams as well with TyLoo. They clearly are always number 1 or number 2 in the Asian region. And he's got a 1.32 2.0 rating. That's so insane. So, without further ado, I'm going to be showing you guys from the Asus ROG LAN finals, BnTeT playing against Gambit. So we're going to be hopping into this shortly. Still the warm-up. It's been a minute since I've done these, so hope you guys cut me just a little bit of slack here. So if you guys have been wondering at all about, I guess, where I've been kind of focusing on playing myself, kind of focusing on a couple other things in life, but I'm trying to make this pro player analysis series, which was so popular last time I did it, just about a year ago, yeah, hope you guys enjoy. So we're gonna start with the pistol round here. BnTeT is gonna be rocking the Karambit Doppler, and just kind of looking at the setup that his team's playing. He's got 2 around back green towards Ivy, and he's just playing a nice one-done spot that Bondik's able to play off of, and he's able to get 1 kill, but gets traded out, and Gambit's able to take the round, even though him and Bondik were able to get quite a few frags there, actually. I think they got 3 for 2, so not bad, but the rest of the team wasn't able to close it out. So this round, he elects to buy a grenade and a CZ. He's going to be playing right on the bomb site here. He definitely hears Fitch, who's just kind of rushing up to Z without really checking much, but looks like BnTeT's able to get a gun out of this. So now he has a Mac and a nade, and he should know where the last 2 members of Gambit are. And yeah, he has an option here to either go through Z and just take the normal fight, or he's going to potentially go up ladder. The thing about going through Z is that you're clearly going to be taking some longer range engagements, not exactly what you want to do when the gun you picked up is a Mac 10. So this definitely increases his odds of winning, but Adren, a little too aware for that, and is going to be able to take him out there. Ooh, actually skipped around there. Skipped the full eco there. Doesn't look like he actually got a kill, but we'll be watching it anyways. We're going to be watching, so the way I've been doing these guys, if you haven't seen them before when I ran the first one, is I just go through every single round of a really good demo of this guy. So this is okay. So this is just an entire game of TyLoo versus Gambit, BnTeT's POV. I'm just going to be narrating things I noticed that are a little different than most players. Just kind of set up strategies, certain plays, individual micro decisions that he makes, and just kind of highlighting all of those. So with his team, they're going to be doing a nade sack towards T-Con that actually gets Adren down to 16 health, and he's going to be playing a close angle here, electing to play in the E-box position. Fitch actually kind of didn't make a lot of noise there. I'm not sure if that was a demo glitch there, but not really that big of a deal. Not a big round for TyLoo, of course, just full 5-man USP round. So that nade, though, actually makes it so BnTeT's not able to get, or anyone on the team is able to get a kit, which is kind of interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how they decide to play without much utility, really. And they actually decide to go for an Ivy play early on. And it's interesting that BnTeT decides to fall away from that so quickly. They got information, and now he gets to just play this back bomb position. He doesn't really have to worry about Ivy all too much. If Gambit were to take it really slow, he'd have to worry about this a little more. But he has a strong assumption that him and his teammate, having peeked down Ivy already, they didn't really need to worry about it. But now, given probably about 10, 12, 15 seconds since he was last here, he's going to be posting up on this angle now. This is probably where we're going to find him for the rest of the round. Yep, and so his teammate takes out Mo, and that's going to close the round out. Mo on Mo violence. Captain Mo on Mo. Okay, so far what can we say about BnTeT's style, or TyLoo style, is that it seems like they like to go for plays a lot of the time. Instead of just kind of letting the action come to them, they decide to play a more aggressive style, take the action to their opponents, even though some teams, when they have low utility, would elect to not do that and play a little more passively. But it looks like, again, him and Mo are going to be getting a little aggressive towards Ivy, and we'll see how this pans out. I wonder if Ben's interested in dry peeking this or anything. And he gets taken down. Not really actually even a good flash from the supporting member of Gambit there. I think that was a Dren, just looking at the radar. But yeah, not able to. He was kind of playing a counter flash position, BnTeT, but it didn't seem to work out. I'm a little surprised that Mo, even though Mo was right behind him, wasn't able to actually capitalize on that at all. Finding a pick, because the flash didn't seem to actually go far enough to really accomplish anything, but maybe just the lineup wasn't really good there. And now Ben is going to be doubling up B. So this guy's all over the map already. He's mostly playing on the A bomb site, but for this instance, he's playing just on the B bomb site, and that's kind of surprising, I'd say, given that he doesn't. Usually, a guy that's playing Ivy is more kind of dedicated to that spot. It's not likely that you're gonna see coldzera, for instance. coldzera kind of plays back green, back Ivy. I guess when he has a spawn, sometimes he'll take it to upper B for like an op pick or something. But for the most part, just it's just a little surprising, I'd say, to see him being the rotator in this instance. And now he's just going to be playing back bomb. So 2-on-2 situation, but it's a 2-2 setup, not 2-on-2. 2-2 setup in a 4-on-3. So he decides to go through back halls instead of through Z. This isn't really a really hard decision by any means. Usually going through Z's, kind of walking into the opponents a little more. You're going to be taking a direct fight, and when you have man advantage, you don't really always want to take that. So, got info on Hobbit. Good trigger discipline to not shoot Hobbit earlier, but Hobbit a little too fast there, and looks like his teammate was able to close it out at least. Okay, so Ben is actually playing more of a rotator position. Mo this round took up the Ivy spot, so actually Mo might be the Ivy player. Then again, TyLoo might just have several plays set up that involve BnTeT to be, I don't know if people call him Ben. Yeah, I'm not sure if anyone refers to him as Ben, but we might say that a couple times here. But yeah, he's trying to play in this helper position, smoking lower. Smoke was pretty bad, but DD was able to clean it up pretty spectacularly anyways. And despite Gambit having a really nice gun round here, Ben's able to clean it up. Pretty easy, pretty simple stuff. He's able to see their feet from that angle then before the T's are able to see him. Playing in that spot on the sidewalk itself, it leaves you much more prone to flashes, but when the exec has already kind of happened, it lends itself to being a better spot than actually right here. A lot of players will play in this kind of back white position, and this is a pretty good angle because it can get you behind cover instantly if you need to, but it's not actually going to, it doesn't give you as much of an advantage as that angle on the sidewalk does, because it's kind of more of an off angle where BnTeT was there. T's are less likely to expect him to be there, and Mo's just going to mow him down in this anti-eco. So, don't think we're going to see much out of BnTeT here. But it's kind of a more frag-hungry kind of spot, I'd say. It's not necessarily a bad thing either, given that if you know you're in a spot that's going to get at least one kill, and there's 2 alive, I mean, you're pretty much guaranteeing the round win. Playing a little too passively can actually get you in some trouble sometimes, and that's something that a lot of up-and-coming players need to differentiate between. I'm actually going to go over this. Is that when you're playing at the end of a round situation, you shouldn't be playing necessarily. You don't want to play too scared nor too aggressive. If you play too aggressively, you're giving them a bunch of 1v1s that you really shouldn't. But if you play too passively, you give them more space than you probably should. And if you're able to contain them a little better, as BnTeT did by playing on that sidewalk position, you're playing more to win. And there's a difference between playing to not lose and playing to win. And both can go in completely opposite directions and screw your team up. Playing too much to win means you're going to give them the 1v1s. Playing too much to not lose means you're going to give them too much positioning, too much let them aggress onto you guys. And yeah, as BnTeT does there, he's not going to give them anything. By playing behind white, you're not necessarily taking the duel right away or as cleanly as you could if you're on the sidewalk, where the sidewalk gives you pretty big advantage, I'd say. Or at least it's what BnTeT likes to do, to give himself that advantage there. Okay, so this guy, so he moves around a lot. TyLoo actually just have a lot of setups. This isn't necessarily Ben just being a crazy rotator everywhere, but he's actually, it seems like he's playing based off of what his team needs. His team there was doing some more aggressive ladder positioning, and so he picks up the T-con position. Yeah, I mean, I guess we're going to be seeing him move around a lot. And that can slightly inflate his numbers as a player. I wouldn't say that it's that they're playing around him per se, but they're giving him a lot of the positions that are just, they don't think someone's going to be there, because every time, okay, again, he's playing a totally different position yet again. So TyLoo does have a lot of setups laid out. They're doing a lot of different plays. And this was going to be a double upper B kind of push. So yeah, BnTeT seems to be supplementing a lot of these kind of strategies or CT setups. Okay, so he holds this top oil position, and that's more like an opera position, but if you're confident enough in your aim, and if you haven't used it at all, then terrorists can get caught off guard quite easily by it, especially if you have an AK. That instant headshot kill can really help you out. I doubt you'd see that as much with an M4 from a lot of players, but he's confident enough to do it with an AK, so kind of the last one to rotate there. Already has a great idea about where Gambit is likely going, knowing that Fitch went right back up the ladder, and he's actually going to get some pretty strong positioning here, just kind of getting out on the bomb site. And unfortunate that he's not able to get the kills there, but he had the right idea, I'd say. If he were able to move out onto the site just probably a half second earlier, he would have definitely got that kill on Fitch, and it was a shame that he missed out on that kill at all. So good idea there. Okay, so now he's going to be supporting a T-con play by throwing this flash into T-con for his teammates. Doesn't seem like it actually would have caught Adren. Adren was playing pretty far back there. But again, just supporting the plays from the rest of his teammates. And so this is something that TyLoo's been doing for a long time, is that they run a lot of different setups on CT side. When they were... That one tournament they did really well, I think it was DreamHack Malmo 2016, they had a lot of interesting setups on Cobble that caught SK off guard at the time. Well, it might have been LG at that time. I think they might have been LG. But when I watched that demo back, what really surprised me a lot was just that they had so many setups for every round. And they still have carried that over into their current lineup and their current roster, current players. And it's pretty impressive to see them stick with that after this so much time. Not get loose, not get puggy. They're doing a certain play every round on CT side. That round, BnTeT was just kind of moving between positions and just watching ladder from really far back. Pretty good precision there to get that headshot so instantly as the guy peeks out of ladder, but nothing too crazy. Knowing it's an anti-eco, BnTeT knows that he can kind of just play a little farther back on this one. It's really interesting that he's moving forward now, but this would catch anyone off guard. That was a really... interesting play that he decided to make, that decided to push forward as opposed to just kind of waiting for the action to come to him, especially on an anti-eco. But if he knows that the opponent's got an off, they're going to be looking for a pick with it. It's unlikely that they're going to scope up on a position that close. So that's some really heads-up play from BnTeT. I think that's probably been one of the more interesting and actually probably smarter positioning plays to come out from him so far, and at least effective. So BnTeT often puts himself in positions to, as again, going back to that concept I was describing earlier, he puts himself in positions to win rounds. He doesn't play just to play the safest way, the safest style, the most, I guess, you know, just passive or anything like that. This guy he actually mixes passive play along with aggressive play. I'd say he plays a lot of aggressive positioning, not necessarily making too many flashy aggressive plays, but he tends to put himself more forward than other times, or than other players would at certain times. That round, just kind of the T-con aggression failed. Man down. It's pretty hard to deal with if any kind of A-split comes out, and unfortunate for BnTeT, his teammates get taken out towards T-con. His positioning there, that's kind of just one of those ones where you just hope to take a fight and win it. I wouldn't say that it's too aggressive or anything like that. It's pretty standard, I'd say. And they're actually going to go for the same play again, which is surprising. So they flash in there and just get mowed down again by a Dren just spammed through the smoke at ladder room. And some heroics coming out from BnTeT, who just actually went up the ladder and chased them. And that's a pretty impressive way to get back into this. BnTeT knows that ladder should be clear. He's trying to meet up with his teammate BnTeT. I'm not sure. So let's look at BnTeT's position. BnTeT actually was able to push all the way forward there, and Ben is actually watching if anyone from Gambit perhaps moved down this way and might be routing themselves back to the ladder position. So interesting positioning. They seem very spread out here, and I'm not actually a fan of how they're playing this late round situation out. But yeah, this doesn't seem like they're playing off each other at all. And now they have the bomb secured. I feel like Captain Mo could have taken a little more liberty in his kind of, not a retreat, but his push to the bomb. So I'm a little surprised by that. And now they know where Ben is, and this is BnTeT is. And I feel like TyLoo might have... It's just the way Gambit is playing together on this is really just standard and well thought out, whereas TyLoo are playing so far away from each other. Looks like BnTeT's going to be able to close out his heroics for the round anyways, though. Oh, perhaps not. And yeah, again, BnTeT, though, just getting more and more positioning into the round. So as you can see here, he doesn't just play passively and tries to stop the bomb plant. He goes for a position that is just so forward and unexpected. It's almost like he's playing kind of like one-and-dones in the sense that his positioning in mid-late round situations has been really strong. He gets up close and personal. He gets people with angles that they just wouldn't expect. They aren't really off angles in the sight. They're actually just aggressive angles that are very unexpected. I guess you could consider them off angles, but it's not usually how the term is commonly used. So. So that's where his aggressive positioning or aggressive playmaking can definitely hurt his team. They had a 3v2 advantage. There was no real reason to get into this kind of position. He thinks he can catch someone off guard by going down ladder, but is unable to and gets taken out. I'm interested to still see how this round plays out, but it looks like BnTeT is going to be closing it out just fine. And we'll see how Fitch plays it. Just for a little bonus here. Okay, so yeah, it gets taken out. So 9-6 half, definitely not bad at all, given just how good Gambit really is on Train. So that's still pretty impressive. I'll skip to the pistol round anyways. Is this live? Oh, actually it's live. Okay, that was fast. So, okay, I'm going to give you guys a summary of BnTeT's CT positioning and style. So BnTeT, in the beginning of the rounds, is more of a support player. He's throwing the flashbangs. He's kind of supporting the play of other players on his team. He's not necessarily taking the early fight, but he's staying alive into the later round so that he can still have a great impact in it. because he's so smart in these late round, mid round situations, and his positioning is just really good at reading something and then getting into the farthest possible spot that he can without overextending. Of course, he got caught a couple times in this game overextending. However, I'd say more times than not, he was pushed up on terrorists and they were unaware of it. When Dozia was coming out of T-Con, he was at Sandwich, which caught them off guard, caught Dozia off guard. At B ramp, he pushed up there, was able to catch a Dren with an op, just kind of looking the wrong way. I mean, he does it quite a bit, and that skill. And when Fitch and I think Dozia went into the B bomb side with 40 seconds left, BnTeT tried to move to what I call the Dennis wall, kind of the tarp area. It's where Dennis plays a lot of pistol rounds and gets a lot of headshots there. So BnTeT moved to that angle. He didn't move quite fast enough, so he kind of whiffed the spray a little bit on Fitch, but was able to nonetheless get that aggressive positioning. He's trying to do it all the time. He's trying to push forward and forward, not only for information's sake, but for the fact that it's an angle that terrorists aren't going to clear. They don't think that they kind of know the general area of where BnTeT is, and he's going to try to move as fastly as possible without giving away any information about where he is now, so that he can catch people off guard as they're running into a bomb site or running into an area or trying to get map control. So pretty impressive stuff. BnTeT, just kind of I'd say CT side, kind of a master of like mid-round decision-making, late-round decision. Not super clutch per se, but very good at getting mid-round, mid-late round positioning. Okay, so T side, we're going to look at his role on executes, defaults, how aggressive he is, and just kind of what plays he likes to make, and of course, kind of how clutch he is, depending on how clutch he gets in these rounds. Okay, so it's just pretty standard B hit, pretty dry, not even throwing, okay, just one smoke for T-Con, and he's actually going to plant the bomb. So what BnTeT already is reminding me of is when I watch coldzera. coldzera likes to, he kind of is the second, third in on a lot of these things. coldzera might have played this a little differently, but BnTeT in these kind of like middle of the pack positions does really well and succeeds, and that's how BnTeT's actually playing for TyLoo. Just kind of like he held the bomb there, and that's not something you'd think of a star player doing, holding the bomb, but it actually, in positioning, for positioning's sake, and just kind of given the situation to clutch it out, he is kind of the second, third in. So not the crazy entry fragger, but not the last guy either. Cold might be a little farther back, but Cold actually usually ends up kind of on the bomb site, planning in any kind of SK hit. So BnTeT and his team just playing the anti-eco, and he's playing it pretty passively, not really hunting at all. So despite putting up some insane ratings, you don't see BnTeT, hunting or anything crazy and not doing anything unprofessional with his anti-eco play. That's something to be noted. He also has one of the 2 AKs for the team. Given that he has one of the few rifles, you're not going to probably see him do anything a little too ridiculous. It's kind of, when you see AKs or whatever just kind of run out looking for anti-eco kills, that's when you start to see teams kind of show their lack of discipline, unprofessional. But TyLoo has shown that they are a pretty disciplined team. A lot of setups, a lot of strategies. And we see BnTeT try to put himself in this kind of spools position again. It seems like he really likes this angle. It gives you actually surprising amount of cover despite feeling like you're so in the open. If you're able to play around the angles there, no one can shoot you from the upper B area, like above him to the right there. Z, everyone kind of has to strafe into you. If you know that this oil lane that's right beneath him right now is accounted for, then you know that everyone's gonna have to strafe into you. And having that luxury of just crosshair placement, just kind of knowing what the engagement is gonna feel like, can really help you out. So BnTeT just kind of doing what's comfortable with him there. I don't know if I would always consider it the best spot on an anti-eco, because a couple deagles can peek you simultaneously and take you out, but if he's able to play around the angles well, and he does his job as good as he does, I say why not. Okay, so again, he's supporting on a complete anti-eco. He's not actually hunting anything here. He's letting the SMGs go first. I think he might have nailed DD there with a shot, but just kind of tapping his way to victory here. Strafes out, gets another kill. Didn't really do all that much damage that round, but it was able to get a couple kills. Both were assisted. So, okay, BnTeT, not an eco-fragger. Not an eco-fragger. Puts up insane numbers, not an eco-fragger. Okay, first gun round. Let's see how they play it, how Ben plays it. It's gonna be just a fast A split. Gonna be just coming down ladder. So he's the second one here. It's unfortunate that I think somebody walked in front of him, and actually his teammate somebody, not actually just a random person. But second, okay, so second in on kind of the alternative push is how I kind of like to describe that position. So that's still like what you would consider a support player. He's not going, the main route would be T-Con, the alternative route is ladder, and they're splitting, and he's not even the first one to go down, he's the second one. So BnTeT, so far it's not proved, I mean, he's not an entry fragger, that's for sure. He hasn't entered on the pistol or any anti-ecos or the gun round, so definitely more of a support player. Kind of second in a lot of the time though, so that's kind of a star's role. Actually on the third round anti-eco, he actually was the last in, so not even getting the true star treatment from TyLoo here. Looks like they're going to be doing a B exec. So they're going to smoke deep, which will give them some control of this upper positioning. Throw some mollies behind teammates. And knows he has to get into the bomb site, help his team out here. And some awkward smokes, though, being thrown out. I don't know. I think Fitch might have thrown this one. And he just finds himself in a really bad position. And that was potentially a round-winning smoke from Fitch. I think Fitch is the one that threw that. Because I don't see how his team even would have got that smoke out. So that just kind of screws with his positioning and his entry a little too much, and is unable to get anything out of that round. He knows he has to clear the side out, but it's very awkward to move around that smoke. You don't really want to do it too hastily or just give too much information away. You can get just spammed there. You can get nailed by nades. Pretty impressive stuff actually coming out of Fitch there. Never really even considered that smoke being thrown. I mean, that could have been a botched TyLoo smoke too, though, but I don't really think so. Okay, so he's trying to make a play here, pushing through the smoke, but gets mollied. Thing is, Gambit actually are well aware of his positioning as well. Surprisingly able to get Hobbit. Well, it was like the third guy Hobbit encountered, so not crazy, but walks into an M4 that had no bullets. And he also kind of peeked before he even had the gun out, which was really strange. I guess he figured the smoke was not going to dissipate that quickly. Okay, so this looks to be more of a default kind of round. The other rounds from TyLoo have been just kind of execs off the bat or just splits. And this round they're going to be actually working the position. So we're going to see how BnTeT actually plays the default out. So plays anti-flash for Mo. Kind of unfortunate that Mo gets spammed out. And the rest of his team is just kind of dying everywhere. This is not looking hopeful. So I guess we're going to find where BnTeT reaches into his bag of tricks and tries to make something happen here. Or if he tries to make something happen here. So he's playing the timing here. Hobbit barely misses that. Oh, okay, so he's going to reveal his position probably with the smoke. Actually decides against it. Okay, so this is going to be an A split for sure. And it's up to Ben to pretty much just move up. I think his teammates should take next contact though, given that there are two of them coming out of ladder. But Ben does need some kind of aggressive positioning to supplement their push anyways. So he knows one is Heaven, and Dozy is able to just take him out. Dozy is just running around in Heaven like a maniac, and it actually works out. So Didn't really try to make a play happen there. It is actually somebody that found the first entry into the round after going down 5v3. But BnTeT, after being soloed out and having to take care of the bomb, actually, it does make sense that he's not going to just rush out like that. There's just a kind of ridiculous A hit from TyLoo. No real coordination or strategy. I mean, it was just an A split with ladder and T-con presence, but unable to find anything. We're going to see another gun round come out from them, and I guess we're going to see if, when their back's against the wall, are they more interested in running strategies or running defaults? They were taken out pretty handily by the members of Gambit on the last default, so I might favor a play, but it looks like they actually haven't able to string anything together, whether it was a default or an exec, so I guess they're going to be working a default again, but with an op this time from Mo. So yeah, he's going to be supporting Bondik here. Bondik is going to be jumping on his head. And unable to find the kill. That's really unfortunate. Hobbit's been playing this position just incredibly well. So, surprisingly, Ben... That's one of the first times Ben's gotten really aggressive on T side. Just knowing that he can trade a kill out. And it's actually really opening up the round here for his teammates. So... 3v2. He's going into a pretty clutch position there. Notice how he wasn't really trying to move up with his team to try to plant the bomb. He was actually just kind of moving to a post-plant position before it even happened. That's pretty risky, although it would have secured the round if his team were flanked from ladder, because he would have just peeked from that angle and probably got the trade. However, it's just kind of an interesting decision in general. Moving away from Ivy and trying to get into that forward position yet again. So BnTeT even takes that kind of CT, just aggressive positioning, take as much space as he can possibly take before the actual engagement happens. He's transferring that over from his CT side to his T side. So this is going to be some kind of B explosion. They already have their whole team here. They have no map control whatsoever. Scary thing for them is that Gambit already have 2 members on the B bomb site. And somebody, though, getting that entry is huge. Don't think they know that Fitch is in the upper area, though. But he gets taken out. And BnTeT, again, just going for some more aggressive positioning. He's getting as aggressive as he can before the engagement happens. He just flies down oil. He doesn't clear, I mean, he kind of clears it, but he just wide peeks it, and he just goes for it. He just pushes and pushes and pushes, and tries to use these more aggressive positions. And I mean, that can really work if you have that really good sense of timing in your head. If you know where the CTs are going to be looking a lot of the time, you can get some really advantageous positioning that can just help you secure rounds a lot. And that's really been proven to be BnTeT's style. It's just like, he doesn't necessarily peek into people a lot, but he gets into a great position that CTs will walk into his crosshair, and a CT can't jiggle. I mean, an opponent can't really jiggle every corner. As great as that be, if you had that luxury of time, you would want to jiggle everything, make sure no off angles are going to catch you off guard, but that's just not, no one really plays like that. So BnTeT's just going to play an off angle, going to play a forward position, and catch people just when they think they're in the rotational phases of the round. And it's just really strong. It's a really strong way to play out nearly every situation. Just be in the most aggressive spot, basically right before a CT thinks you're going to be there, you're there. Kind of interesting that TyLoo decided to take a timeout. I don't really know why they did that when they're up 14-11. I feel like you should just keep the momentum going. I'm not going to really go overboard with the IGLing of the team, but yeah. There's some support nades again, and Gambit goes for some really aggressive play towards B, it looks like. Ben's playing this pretty passively, and unfortunately for him, he's actually going to run into one of the few guns on Gambit. in just a second. It's going to be interesting to see whether he wins this duel or not, but the rest of his team just got mowed down by some straight-up aggression. Surprisingly not able to take that duel and win it. I don't know. BnTeT peeking into angles has been surprisingly, I guess, lackluster. He doesn't seem to be... He really wants to be still when it seems like he takes most of his fights. This is just judging off of one demo, one game, so could mean anything, and it's kind of when he's on match point, but he definitely succeeds much more frequently when he's the one that's the passive player and he's being aggressed into. Lines up a smoke, and they're just kind of defaulting here, and this is kind of, I feel like this is where TyLoo has failed the most, defaulting against Gambit. Gambit seems to be the superior team in skill, and when a team's better than you, just flat out with skill, it's really unlikely that you're going to be getting a lot out of your defaults, unless you're taking really significant map control with good utility usage, but yeah, BnTeT looked really lost there. That was really kind of awkward to watch. There's no reason that he needs to stare at the smoke when he's running out this direction. He should be clearing the spot that he's actually looking at. His teammate's already posted on it with an op, and he's just running up with his back turned to sandwich one of the few positions that it can actually be unchecked, uncleared at that point. So I think we're starting to see some of BnTeT's kind of just what he's lacking also. No doubt he's an insane player, but still, always something to learn. Uses a lot of flash, uses a lot of utility to just get a little bit of map control. This is kind of just shows that perhaps that he's not really always confident aggressing onto angles, pushing things himself, because yeah, it's safe to do that, but using both of your flashbangs, your smoke, and your Molotov, I mean, he's faking IV control for sure, but even when you're faking or taking IV control, you don't always use two flashbangs, as he did just there. So just kind of interesting to watch. And now, instead of being one of the players on the site where he probably have the most success, he's playing this super clutch, really tough position with no utility at all. So this really doesn't suit him, from my perspective. I don't really see why they would put him here of all positions. I guess he's really clutch for them, but regardless, that was a little awkward to watch too. He just actually that wasn't horrible by any means, but if Adren had a kit, he would have defused it. And the reason he's jiggling the way he does, kind of on the side there, is because oftentimes when people tap the defuse and they know the person's upper, they're going to actually move more towards the bomb train here, because what will happen is if the terrorist just wide peeks the bomb or shoulder peeks the bomb itself, they're going to be so exposed that it's not really a hard shot for a CT to be right here. So that's a little lesson for you guys. If you tap the bomb, if you know that the terrorist is upper, tap the bomb here, but try to like walk over here, because he's gonna have to try to peek you at some point, and if he just jiggles you perfectly when you're right here, you have no hope of killing him. But if you actually move here, you have a better chance. You have a wider angle on him. So Ben was playing as if Adren was gonna play that wider angle. I just think Ben would have succeeded more likely had he been on the bomb train, or maybe just closer, maybe pop dog or the white train, back white, back bomb. Whether maybe he even would have pushed up further or farther. So all those seem like more likely outcomes to have success than what we saw there, where he's playing that fifth man role. He doesn't really seem to succeed as the fifth man as much. Also, this was really weird. How his teammate's pushing up, but and it's throwing the smoke still. Now somebody's trapped in the hell position. Ben's looking to make a play. I think you just heard the scope of Mo up there, so he knows he can, or I guess it's Dozia? I thought he heard a scope, but I don't know what that was. Now his teammate has room to plant. With 73 health, I wouldn't really favor playing a position like that front train area. Actually, I mean, there's only rare instances where that's actually a good crossfire in general. So somebody's going for the long con here, trying to get all the way around. So Ben actually is going to be playing this pretty passively. Luckily for him, the molly actually is not really looking all that... Didn't really look that good. That's actually super unfortunate. The molly actually didn't even look like it was over there. It looked like it was over here, and yet when he moved over it, it was clearly hitting him the whole time, and I'm pretty sure that panicked him, because he thought he was going to get away for that, get across that for free, but was unable to. So that's really unfortunate, and a lot of these rounds are getting really close now. We're seeing Ben in the clutches, seeing how he's deciding to play them. He did need to push there. That's the thing. If the CTs decided to just stick the bomb, defuse, there's no way anyone would have got to it in time. They would have just lost. So he does need to kind of make an aggressive play there. I don't know if he heard the tap though, but I mean it is up to him to basically cover the bomb while somebody's making that huge, potentially game-winning flank. However, that molly was just a little too well placed. Had he stayed old bomb, that actually would have worked out in his favor, but I don't know if he could have gotten to the bomb fast enough from that position either. Might have been actually really cool if he played Heaven there. If he knew what somebody was doing, if he went into Heaven, he actually could have just watched the bomb entirely, and somebody would have been able to have a crossfire with him later in the round. That would have been maybe a slightly better play. But okay, TyLoo get the first pick into this round. BnTeT finds an opening kill, and now BnTeT gonna trade out his teammate BnTeT again, and just peeks into a scout. Luckily to get away with his life there, and looks like they're in prime position to win this round. 2v4. Ben is still just being a little paranoid about the smoke. Knows Gambit need to make some kind of hero play, and just gonna be moving up with his team. So he's responsible for that Ivy position. Now they know where one of the CTs is towards ladder. And Fitch making a really heroic play there. I don't even know what that was. And now they just don't even have time. So that was a pretty crazy screw-up coming out of TyLoo there. And I think that's going to send it to OT. That's going to be pretty heartbreaking for TyLoo. They had every reason to win that round, but Fitch just makes the last second just bet it all play on just pushing there, and it actually works out, and that's just pretty bad from TyLoo. However, I don't think Ben played that wrong. For the most part, he's watching what he's supposed to watch. I don't know why the bomb just took so long to get there. Okay, TyLoo actually leaves the bomb in spawn, I just realized, in some of these rounds. Just looking at the radar, that is pretty interesting stuff. Okay, so he's going to default towards Ivy by himself. So Ben doesn't really do much in the defaults. I'll sum up his T-side play after this OT ends, but yeah, he doesn't really do all that much here. He kind of just lets nades hit him for a while, and then he kind of just walks out late. Just checking if his gun sticks out at all. Does not. Good angle from Hobbit there, and good timing from him as well. Knowing he needs to make a play, he just walks out. Couldn't find anything though. So he doesn't really take early fights. Then again, Gambit are really good at using their utility at Ivy to prevent any bad fights for them. And now Ben looks like he's going to be one of the last people out on more of an explosion or an exec onto this A-bomb site. So he still is trying to get all his nades out. He's not just running out, making sure that everything that can be accounted for and cleared with grenades is done so. He smokes Z, he mollies back bomb. Gambit was just set up a little too well, got a little too many opening picks there for TyLoo to recover from. He had to pretty much clear a bunch of angles at once as he's running out. That was really tough for him. But you can see that he's not really just gung-ho running in, just going crazy on him. And he's making sure that everything's smoked and molly that should be. Jeez. Gambit's nade usage is really good. Oh, that was a sick spray. I thought he got the first guy too, but that was a really good transfer. And another nade just kills him. So, again, like the second or third in there, and that's going to do it for the OT half. So, okay, little summary of BnTeT's T side. Really passive, never the first in entry, more so the I think his position, like his success comes more from being the third in, or maybe the second in, but if someone can clear the way for him a little bit, and BnTeT will throw utility for that person, he'll clean up kills, he'll clutch out rounds. He's really good at just being that second or third in. If the entries go his team's way, he can get advanced positioning, can take control of the post plant in his own way by posting up in a position that the CTs just wouldn't really expect. He didn't have to do that a lot, or he didn't really have the chance to do that a lot in this game, but on the few kind of early rounds when he was able to push up at oil or just kind of hang around oil, he plays an angle that I just not many people just would really expect, and in doing so is able to net some nice kills that just kind of secure rounds. Just kind of more of a round secured guy. I'm sure he has some clutch in him as well. Against Gambit, it's definitely not going to be easy. They're very coordinated, very tactical, just methodical in their approach. So it's a little harder to catch them off guard like that. I think he makes a few more mistakes on T side than he does CT side. That being said, TyLoo didn't really have as great of a. Actually, let me see the scores. Okay, first half they got 9. Yeah, so I mean that could just be said for their team. They run more kind of just I'd say well thought out plays on their CT side. They flash people into things. They take map control. They hold that map control. And Ben, given pretty much any situation on CT side, he's getting into one of the best positions he can possibly get into to get frags. So really good kind of just positional player in general. I could see him having a lot of success as an opper as well, and I'm noticing that he's picking it up in this overtime. But yeah, like people that can play like BnTeT and get into a lot of nice positions, help hit their riflers get in position by throwing good nades, but also posting up on positions that they wouldn't really expect, terrorists that is, really expect, can get some really easy kills with the op. So I'm kind of interested to see what he does here on this CT side. But yeah, not quite as explosive or interesting on T side. Just I mean, it's always harder to push forward when the other team knows you have to push forward, being a terrorist. And on CT side, it's easier to be aggressive because Ts don't really expect you to always be aggressive, especially if you do it with a teammate. So he's going for that. I mean, a lot of oppers do this. Fallen does this. Device does this. Seen Nico do this as well. He's posting up on the ramp with an op. Really powerful position, can kind of shut down any Brown Hall's control if he's able to hit the shot. And he's actually going to get antsy and push forward. And this is probably the right play here, given that if he were to go all the way back, he would really have a hard time getting anything out of it. But it's really up to his teammates to draw the attention of the ladder player. He knows that someone's watching ladder at this point. But if his teammates are not able to really do anything, then it's going to be just super hard. And he's actually able to come out huge here and just so patient. Just so patiently waits for that opportunity. And in doing so, he's able to help close the round out. And if there were a lot of other players, they would have just gone down the ladder and probably died. They might have flashed down and found a kill, but that's really hard to do with a CZ and an op. It's really hard to just kind of fly down the ladder and get a kill. So patience really paid off for him there, as he's able to get those. And he's just going to be doing the same thing with the op. This I find to be a little stale. Even though Gambit didn't directly confront him doing this, they did know that he had an op towards B. And when a team knows that, they can kind of default a little better just having that information. Like, I'm interested to see how Hobbit plays against this, because I think he should kind of approach knowing that there's a potential op here. Might see a jiggle come out of Hobbit, or he just kind of wide peeks him and shoots him in the face. That's another way to do it, I guess. But I mean, Hobbit was able to really capitalize on that. I don't think that's bad. It's totally like horrible because Gambit didn't have direct contact with him as he made that play in the last round. However, it's just way easier to expect it now. And when Hobbit or any player on Gambit expects any kind of play to be thrown at them, they're much better at just countering it, as Hobbit just did there. And his way of countering it was actually just wide peeking, which was pretty insanely awesome to watch. So that's going to be it. I'm pretty sure they just lose this, and that's the game. But yeah, we can go over BnTeT now. Just summarize it. So BnTeT, how is he as a player? On CT side, gets a lot of aggressive positioning. He did try picking up the op at the end there, but mostly is just a rifler. It looks like he can be somewhat of a hybrid at times when his team needs him to be, or when he just has the luxury of doing so. But yeah, the main thing that sticks out is definitely his supportive kind of early round playing. He plays very supportive early, but in the later round he gets kind of aggressive, and that is something that could just be really effective. If T's are just moving forward and taking a bomb site, and they kind of just think that everyone's far away, but BnTeT is in a more aggressive position because he was able to get somewhere that the T's just didn't expect because they saw him earlier in the round. That can net you a lot of round wins, and it showed in this game. BnTeT plays to win. He plays to win nearly every round. He doesn't play to not lose, he plays to win. And that's something you need kind of teams to be very just know like what's going on with your star players. And when your team knows that BnTeT's kind of doing that, not only is he making a little more space for his team, he's getting more information for his team, but he's also just getting kills. And getting a couple kills and isolating a spot on a default can be super beneficial for any kind of defense, especially on Train. If you push forward on Ivy and you get information, then you can have a much more secure A defense. When you push forward at B, late in a round, you can sometimes just catch people off guard as he did. So that's kind of how BnTeT's, I guess, bread and butter would be, just aggressive positioning. On T side, he looked a lot less interesting. Kind of just lets the default unfold, and it looks like other players on the team, like Bondic or somebody, were the ones kind of getting the picks or entries. But BnTeT really knows how to play around his terrain, the context of the round. He's good at lurking out at the right time. His timing was really good in a lot of the rounds. He got caught a couple times by Hobbit. Hobbit's just a stellar player, though, so you can't really fault him too much for that. You're just going to get caught by Hobbit. Nothing gets past that guy. So that's pretty much it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the first in a hopefully 24-part series of me going over the best players for every single major team, including the challengers. So all 24 teams. And hope to put out more of these soon. So stay tuned, guys.